Hello everyone, welcome. We are in Reiki and also. Hello Michael. So, does anybody have any question for me today? Let me answer one question. There was I think somebody asked regarding food and yoga. Should you eat some food before you practice yoga? Because as most of the health industry nowadays, they actually eat food while they actually do exercise or drink constantly as they do exercise. And yoga is not the case. During yoga, we do not drink water, prefer not to drink water. Also, not to eat approximate 3.5 hours to 3 hours, or drink at least 1.5 hours or 2 hours before you start practicing asana practice. Also on pranayama or meditation, it not just only apply to asanas. Asanas 3.5 hours. Food before meditation also at least good 2 to 2.5 hours. Pranayama is same as asanas. After practicing meditation, pranayama or asana, approximate allow good 45 minutes to an hour before you eat again. I would recommend 30 minutes later after finishing practice, you must drink a lukewarm water. Not what you have cold smoothies and all those things that comes along. Those are not really healthy after asana practice or pranayama practice. Drink body temperature, lukewarm water, not really boiling, not even a tea or herbal tea, just water. But we don't really do that. After practicing, I notice most people go, they even carry some food with them. They roll their mat and they have the stuffing the food inside. I have burned now, I need to eat some food. So I will not really recommend that because you need to allow your body to process the emotions or the chemicals your body have produced or toxicity your body have released through the practice to process it and release it fully. The moment you start consuming other than water, your body goes in absorption mode. So you start producing completely different chemicals than rather than releasing the toxins out of the body. So please do not eat. If you have a habit to eating constantly or have a having a food is important, but not just living for a food is important. So sometime I have seen people, they go to the retreat or the detox of Ayurveda, which is I witnessed them in some of them in a very 10-day intense detox programs in India, previous first few years. As soon as they finish, I think Michael Yalip is here witnessing that. Because some of the we don't have caffeine, coffee, tea, or any substance allowed to consume. They go hide away into the town to have their cup of coffee. Or after 10 days, they finish the detox, the cleanse of life. They go completely, they eat twice as much because they think they lost too much weight or they have done too much work and they need to put it back on. Being too clean, it doesn't suit their body. So if that is the case, please not to do the cleanse in first place because your system becomes more vulnerable. You want to protect your vulnerability, not to expose your system or your gut lining to the harsh substance that you consume after detox. Also, after yoga, same thing applies. If you have a diet very stodgy, as we talked about some time ago, if you consume a very high protein diet and practicing yoga because you want to pump your muscles, it does in long term creates a increase of vata in the body, may create a joint problems. Your body need a lot of lubrication if you do lots of movement. Similarly for your muscular, also for your ligaments and joints. Then people say, how about omegas? Can we take the omegas from the sea life? Sea life is living itself, leave it alone. Eat avocados, linseed, pumpkin seeds. There's plenty of other nutritious things actually you can consume. Leave the animals alone. They have their life, you have their life. Tomorrow, can you imagine? Tiger needs some healthy meal. They don't want to eat anymore the meal that available in the zoos. They will not be happy. So, same, if you eat a high protein diet, your diet, don't take it because religious point of view. Forget that. Look it from health angle. Eating animal is not healthy for you from any angle. It's not healthy for environment, not healthy for you body, also for your mind. So if you're practicing yoga, I will highly recommend plant-based diet. Consume nuts and seeds. Check for the chemicals. Also, when you go for a plant-based diet, you go quite a lot of processed diet, like cartoons of the milk, like the oat milk, almond milk. They can live on shelf for 2 years. I make almond milk at home, last 6 hours. After 6 hours later, it start getting separated, get fermented. Similarly, coconut milk doesn't last more than one day. It becomes fermented next day. So there must be something inside them to keep it a long time. Similarly, with avocado, with your oats milk doesn't last long. So all those packaged milk you buy is actually not healthy for you. Indirectly, you are putting more chemicals in your body than doing something good to yourself. So think from all the angles that you can. Don't just only practice yoga, you're doing very good to the environment, but also the not eating meat is just very great activity you do. But same time also look after your health, not to go for processed food. Try to eat what grows naturally and healthy. So that's the food topic. And when you eat, make sure you don't overeat. We have a bad habit because till you feel the food coming out of your throat, you are not full. Sometimes I've seen people get up, they untie their belt. I've seen people eating, they untie their belt to make sure the food can go down, and they get up and move around and come back again, sit down, eat again. And I do wonder sometimes, are you a food bin or food storage? Or you eating food? Sorry, I just had a picture of the guy who was at some festival. I was there. I have not seen somebody. in my life, so-called holistic person and the healer, that I could not actually keep my eyes off the person. So sometimes not to eat too much, also important. You practice yoga 5 times in a day, but your food you are eating, benefit of yoga will not take place physically as well as mentally. Never mind spiritually. Your yoga have to align with the type of the food you eat and the quantity of the food you eat and what you eat in your food. And that's when your growth of yoga happens. Lots of people say, I've been practicing yoga 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. My growth is not that much. I still have anger, I still have frustration, I get agitated, I have all those problems, I lose my temper. Because you're practicing yoga but not adapting to yogic lifestyle. Practicing something is not living. Yoga only works when you adapt yoga, don't practice yoga, you adapt a lifestyle of yoga. So, regarding food, 3 hours, 4 hours before the asanas, 2 hours before meditation, 3 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours approximately before pranayama. After any activities, allow good 45 minutes before you eat food. Between that, you can drink water, lukewarm water. I hope that makes sense to you, somebody who ever asked that question. And there is a next question I remember was a headstand. The person who asked the question is here. Would you like to ask yourself? Repeat it, please.
Yes, Yogi. So the question about is it for everyone apart from the physical conditions? So I don't talk about physical conditions which stop people to do headstand, but some other conditions because I remember when I started to practice headstand, I became very agitated and angry. It was probably 9 years ago, and they completely stopped. And now I noticed that people who practice in my class, they also started to say they feel very agitated in this period. So I don't know, maybe it was related to the fact that they started headstand and how I can recognize who can do headstand or not.
No, the headstand, the Sirsasana, is the king of the posture. Should always be done when your body is purified. But nowadays, props are available. You just justify it. You put your head on top of some look like somebody going to chop your neck off. But they use the props to do a headstand. Your core strength, mental, you are ready, your body is clean. Headstand is a quite Sirsasana is quite last stage posture. But nowadays we do not practice yoga, my dear. We practice exercise or physical stretching or competition. If you practice in proper, authentic, and traditional practices, I don't think you practice Sirsasana straight away. You purify your bodies, you purify your emotions, and your circulatory system have purified plenty of your bloodstream. The circulatory system is working really well. There's a toxicity level is low in your blood. You are more alkaline nature in the blood, not acidic. So first of all, when you practice handstand, you're upside down. You're losing disorientation. Mind will feel agitated. Also, sometimes your brain not used to have such a level of oxygen or the blood supply through it. I know which may also be toxic. Depend what quality of somebody's life is they having, what kind of food they are eating. Only pure sattvic person should give it the attempt to do a headstand. Otherwise, all the toxins that you have in your emotional level, your subtle body, or in your physical body will create a brain damage. And that will create agitation, frustration, anger, you name it. That will also affect your emotions of the base chakra. People feel agitated, angry, because emotions of insecurity get exposed when you do a headstand. And you will feel angry, you will feel agitated. Your belly button will feel out of balance. Also, the physical level, the blood is not pure enough. It's toxic. There's lots of toxic level in the body. That will also can create a loss of physical discomfort and emotional discomfort. So only when somebody is sattvic nature, the diet is sattvic, at least your diet is sattvic. You should try to practice handstand only that time once your body is clean. Okay?
Is it fine for person who doesn't meditate? So I noticed that when I started to do headstand later already, recently, I hadn't feel agitation. It felt fine and really nice. So if other, and I thought maybe because I do meditation often, but if person doesn't do meditation, is it fine still for him to do headstand? Just he has good diet and doesn't take alcohol, doesn't eat meat. So this.
By nature, if you're practicing meditation, you're saying if you practice meditation and not a good diet, it helps your headstand not get agitated but a little bit, not that often. Meditation itself is sense of purification from emotions and the lower chakras. Also, you only can meditate. You can try to meditate, but you only can meditate when you have developed certain level of sattvic qualities, sattvic nature inside you. Then, when you try to do handstand, you feel a little bit, but not that often. I remember when you were doing training with me in the year 2012 or 13, I think. You were very agitated person, Dilar. Very abruptive, easily anger, easily get frustrated. Like the temper were almost on the tip of the tongue. You can call it very easily get restless, and also the practice was very different. You have changed your practice, you have developed your practice through the practice of Himalayan Hatha Yoga and meditation. And you've been practicing for 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years, now 7 years almost regularly. So all those practices will have impact on your nature and the impurities of your physical body. If you don't meditate and go back to your not practice asanas and do a handstand, I'm sure you will have the same effect after 3, 4 months not doing it. You can do the experiment if you wish to, but I will not recommend you to put yoga for 3 weeks, 3 months. So meditation is cultivating a sattvic nature inside you, releasing the toxicity of the head. Any other question, Ms. Sangha? Anybody at YouTube have any question?
There's another question from a participant here. about practicing when the person has been positively diagnosed with COVID-19.
COVID-19?
Yeah. So what is there any recommendations you can provide for yoga practice in the case of corona?
You do for a very, very long time. Relax the body, point one. Don't go outside, rest back, have a good fresh air. If you can escape from here, somewhere nice and nature where the good prana is, do good practice every day. At least 3 times, 4 times a day, you practice yoga, a few hours a day. Meditate. Utilize that time for rest for a better. Meditate, practice yoga, rest, do savasana. Just do a self-indulgence. Don't try to cut out from physical activities. Develop the immunity, boost your immunity, and eat healthy. When you get diagnosed, get sick, your mind get more damaged than your physical body. Your fear get more problematic. You should practice, not to walk away from the practice. I know sometimes it's very difficult to practice because coronavirus. Is it coronavirus or they call it some other viruses? Corona, COVID-19.
COVID-19. Yeah.
So
And also pranayama should.
pranayama is a very essential part, but make sure if you feel out of breath, agitated within your capacity, you can do practice pranayama, you practice pranakriya yoga, you practice Himalayan yoga, also meditate regularly. Meditate. Spend lots of time in savasana, rest. This is your prime time to rejuvenate your body. Don't live in fear. More you fear, you build around it. Watch. And one advice: don't watch news. Put the TV off. No newspaper. Go off the mobile phone. Stay away from it. Just in yourself contemplation. Try to heal the body. The more you read about it, more you hear about it, more stress it's likely to create. Okay. Then the second question, yourself.
Michael, did you want to comment on that, or you have a separate question?
I've got a separate question on headstands and blood pressure. Does headstands make blood pressure worse, or?
Depend. Is you have a low blood pressure or high blood pressure, and how chronic it is, what causes it. If it's caused by the artery blockage, or it's caused by due to the stress, or due to the food substance you have taken sometime. Sometimes you're taking the food and you can increase your blood pressure and you try to handstand, will have a different impact. So depend what causing the blood pressure and how long actually you do handstand. So I can't really give you the clear answer till if it is specific. But if it's due to the food, I don't think will create any problem. If it's due to the artery blockage, there is a possibility for brain hemorrhage and or the stroke. And if it's due to the heart condition, again, or diabetic issues, you should not do it too long. Do it very little time. There are other postures you can do. You build the strength. As I said, headstand is the last, the way your body is clean and pure. The body is healthy. Do the shoulder stand. There are other postures you can do. But if you do proper headstand, it should be done approximate good length of time. Do it for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. You will create no problem for anyone. This is basically play in the park, not a headstand. I don't classify general headstand. If you want to get benefits, you do approximate good, somewhere 7 to 8 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes, something like that, if you want to get benefit. And regularly, if you just go for a 30-second check box, I did headstand, not worth it. It will not create any damage for sure. Even you can do it high blood pressure, low blood pressure, or any condition for 30-second headstand or a 1 minute headstand will not create any problem. But you have to again consult a doctor, and also is specific to individual how bad the arteries block, how bad the blood sugar level is, and how bad the heart conditions are. Is the next question, Michelle?
Yeah, there's two more questions I'm aware of, unless others come in as well. Will has put a question in the chat. Will, do you want to ask the question directly?
I'll ask it directly. The name Astra in Sanskrit means a weapon, maybe in a general sense. So then Astavakrasna is the 8-limbed staff, the son of the sage that was cursed. But does Astra on its own mean a staff? Does it mean a stick that hits people, or does it mean a weapon in a general sense? Is the original meaning a stick or a staff?
Astavakrasana. Asta means 8. And what you say, Astra and Asta, they're two separate.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, that's what I thought, because I looked at this resource online, this Vedic resource, and it says Astra is a weapon, generally some type of weapon, but Asta is
every weapon is called Astra.
Yeah.
And what you talk about Asta is not the Astra,
Yeah.
it's the same word, William.
Yeah, but because it looks similar to Astra, I then, my mind anyway, it thought, oh, maybe originally the name for a weapon was a staff, which is complete, nonsense, because it's completely different. Yeah.
Only the power of energy and the intelligence is the biggest weapon you could have, not a stick or the nowadays modern guns. So before, wise people, they never actually fought. They actually used intelligence. The Sanatana Dharma never actually used to fight. They used to use a method of debates to have a contents. They used to have the competitions or the gatherings where the wisdom was shared and proving who is stronger and more smarter and intelligent, who is more stronger. Your weapon can fail, but intelligence doesn't really fail, William.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning things from you, and a lot of us are, that are very fluid, Yogi, very fluid, but yet profound. It's both together. We're learning things from you that are very profound and down to earth.
You're welcome, my friend. Michelle, is there any?
Yes, Delaro had submitted a question also online. Delaro, do you want to ask the question?
So the question is about Prana Vidya, and what is it, and how it is different from Reiki requirement for. Anyway, it's just I wanted any information about Prana Vidya.
You use the full background of it. Prana Vidya, who understand the prana, how the prana flow in one person's body, how the prana flows in other people's body. And when you're seeing somebody's body, you can actually see where the blockage of the prana is in the body. Each, as we have 5 pranas in the body, it have a different operations within your body. Prana Vidya is science of prana, the knowledge of prana. How does it different to a Reiki, what do you do a Reiki? You touch. You give a healing through your hand. Or you creating a transmission. But nowadays I've seen many Reiki healers, they smoke chillum, they're high on the drugs, unhygienic totally. I will not even let them touch my clothes, never mind my body giving me a healing. That unhygienic. Like uh, you have a great gift of healing. The prana is not relevant to the how hygienic somebody is, but it's important. The prana is also can operate in the body where you have a bit more cleanness externally as well as internally. Also, hygiene is not physical; it's also the mental. It's driven by full of greed, driven by full of insecurity, lack. There's a drainage of the prana in person's body itself and try to give a healing. When they give a healing, they feel, oh, I feel totally exhausted because I gave a healing to somebody. First of all, you should not feel drained after giving healing. You should feel revived, recharged, and completely elevated because the energy, you became a vehicle, the cosmic energy was flowing through you. How can you become tired when you are connected to universe? I don't really understand that. But if it does, that's probably ego doing that healing. So when you're doing Reiki, you touch somebody. Back in the days of the sages, the saints, the rishis of India or the Aryavart, the Bharat, they call rishis. Rishis means research, who actually had done plenty of research on the body, the pranic body, and understands it inside out. That person was not used to give blessings. When you go to the most divine people, or most of my own teacher, or highly evolved masters, gurus, you sit down and you to bow. You put your head as a surrender. A surrender, the head was surrendering the ego. And they you to touch the hand on your head to give a blessing. That was you to be a transmission of a prana, transmission of clearing the prana, the energy of your body. Prana is the life force. And that blessing was a transmission of life force to the person or clearing the life force of that person. Please, somebody typing, can you mute yourself? So when the transmission used to take place, the prana used to get uplifted in the person. And that was actually original Prana Vidya. And you used to seek a blessing of a master. One more blessing that you send somebody a blessing and the message is also intention, but also the physical blessing used to be the place. That's why you find the most of the practices when the teacher and a student actually receiving the blessing on the head. That was actually a transmission. And they used to say you should not let touch everyone your crown chakra. You should not let touch everybody your crown chakra. That's why the most religions have something covered up on their head. The when religion cover their crown, it is not because they are being weird. Mine is covered because lots of hair there. I live natural life. But if the most people cover their head when going to the places, just not to get the crown chakra energy disturbed by if somebody do touch their head. So Reiki or any healing method, now modern healing method is called when the people hold their head and they just try to let your body relax. It is the way your body has full capacities. If you can hold certain points of the body, it has a full capacity. Or you can have a total transmission of energy in a blessing that used to be called Prana Vidya or Shakti Power, you can call it, transmission of energy, blessing of the master, or there was another word called Spars Chikitsa, that later the people got more and more corrupt, not aligned with themselves, with their true nature. They were became a masters of just name, not for actually the real internal value. So the blessing was got lost in practices. It got reformulated into a Buddhist monk or Buddhist practitioner, Dr. Usui in Japan, called Reiki. But Reiki is actually, if you look back in literature, Reiki, the person came to Tibet, he got some information from Tibet, then came to India, studied Sanskrit to read that literature and got more information in the Sanskrit literature and revived the old technique of Reiki. He called Reiki. Re means uh, energy, the chi, in Japanese word. The same is you have the prana in yogic terms, the key for the prana. And there is not much difference, but depends how somebody is doing the Reiki and how you get transmitted to the Reiki. Everybody have that ability of doing Reiki, remember that. All you need to do, take your ego to a side, connect with the cosmic energy. You practice every day. You become a channel of the cosmic intelligence, cosmic vibration, universal energy to flow through your head. Or in breath and out breath through your head, through your heart chakra. You can do transmit it. But remember, if person have deceased, if I have deceased, if I'm giving healing to somebody, I will also transmit that energy to that person as well. Whatever my karmic relation is well will also be transmitted to other people. So it depends how you give healing and who gives healing. So you can give a healing to somebody, but are you giving healing with the purity, or you giving healing with some of your karma also going passing through, making network of karma, all your disease, mental disease, physical disease, emotional disease. Sometimes somebody touches your hand or have a conversation with you, you can feel like a really drained, you can feel like a little sickness even from the person because the auric field that inside their thinking is not clear. That can get transmitted through the vibration of the body. So I hope that makes sense. Is there any other question, Mr.?
There is, if you want to take, there's two more.
Yes, sure.
Oleg, do you want to ask?
Yeah, Yogi. I like when you talk about yourself or teachers. So maybe you could spare some time to talk about one of those stories. On your choice.
One of my teachers?
Yeah, about yourself, about your path, or about your teachers. One of the stories of your choices.
One of my stories of my teacher, I remember that one teacher actually locked me in the room for 40 days. And there was no hole, there's no light. He just gave me the like dark prison. And meditate if I want to. And I was free to go out, it was not locked. Just close the door, asked me to stay in the room. Didn't even question that why do I have to stay in the room? If I ask you, please do savasana for every day for 3 hours, you ask me 100 questions. I would like to know the result as well, same time. So, my teacher is a very dear teacher of mine. Took me like even to for him to agree that he will teach. Took me a good 9, 10 months before he actually agreed that he will teach. He said, I don't know anything. I can't teach you anything. But something triggered that something probably I have said. And then we had a nice conversation. We walked, we didn't even know how long we walked that evening, like 5, 6 hours. He came back, he said, come back tomorrow. I arrived, there is not again conversation at all. He put a chair outside, asked the maid to look after, and I'm sitting outside as a gatekeeper of his little house. Not even welcomed inside. Before I actually can go inside to see him. So he comes back halfway through the day, say, I got to go outside, I'll see you tomorrow. I go back again tomorrow. History repeated almost for a few months. But not every day I could go because I have other things to do at the time. So whenever I could make it, I went there, but there was no teaching at all. Then I think 2.5 months later, the weather was getting hot. We started in the winter, and when the weather was getting hot, he moved my chair under the tree. So now I have shade on top of my head. And after a few weeks in the summer, he asked, what you have learned, how you are feeling, and what you have learned. Actually, I was very angry same time, and I got really frustrated. And I have to tell him absolutely straight, as honest as possible. I said, I feel that you are literally using me as a security guard to your house. Not, you have not taught me anything. You tell me come tomorrow, I come along, I go away. But I feel I have had anger, I have felt frustration, I have felt lots of resentments towards you, and sense of failure towards to myself. So why did I choose you as a teacher? I had many doubts. I was almost believing that you don't really know how to, you going to teach me something or not. But my greed was too strong. I have also come to know my greed as well, same time. And the conversation carried on. And he said, okay, so how do you feel? I said, I feel really well because I come to know, even you teach me or not teach me, I quite enjoy being with myself. I'm not actually even aroused that you teach me, don't teach me. I'm talking about first early days of couple of months. I had lots of emotions going through, but last few weeks, I just come and just enjoy myself being, not actually having a desire to see you. Even you talk to me, not talk to me. There is a no intimidation. My head is not actually even going there. He said, come inside. I moved inside. Again, same story carried on. Then there was a few other stages. The story is quite long. Then his father convincing me he will not teach me, go away. And I see lots of people come and see him, ask him question, he answered their question, and they leave. And the quite well-known people, actually. Even some of the great sages and masters used to come to see him. And then he let me finally inside his room, and he said to me, you're not allowed to say a single word. Even whatever I say, you don't agree or agree. Or people ask, Whatever you hear in this room, don't go outside, you only listen. You only listen, don't say any single word. So basically, for next few months, I was just only listening what people asking him and what he's answering. There's just only a receptive part only working. So there was many different types of training. First, then after receptive, came on, he said, okay, let's go upstairs. Then he just locked me in the room. He said, okay, you stay here now, you don't come anymore to see me. So I stayed in the room for 40 days, 42 days, something like that. So I just had toilet, bathroom attached to it, just stay there and practice. He just brings some food, which is very little, not much. If I don't give him food, Mike will go crazy. Even for 3 days, I give him a khichdi. Fourth day, he said, I demand the food. I paid for it. I said, yeah, it's true. You know. I even give them a khichdi because they are cleaning their body. Because I have taken away the spice of life. And they get angry, they demand, I demand the food, give me the proper Indian food. And with lots of spices and herbs, because I paid for it. I say, you're practicing, my friend, don't worry about it. So he just brings a bowl of khichdi and a bit of milk. And that was it. And I practiced 42 days, just living in the dark room. Oh, I went through the, almost like he talked about torture. You name it, my friend. There was no light in the room. There was no printing. There was not even a whitewash in the room. It's almost like a bunker. But it was very nice. I slept on the wooden bank. And that was where I developed my first taste to sleep on the hard surface. After that, I don't really like sleeping on your comfy, soft bed. I sleep on the floor, always. If I do sleep on the bed, if I have to, you need to make sure the bed is very hard. Even in India, when I'm going there, I may have a bed in the room, but that time I sleep on the floor, the bed. So it's interesting that how the life can change. I learned so much with that teacher, and I told him actually what I learned. The first part I was learning patience. We are so much in a rush all the time. First step, I learned patience. Second step, I learned doesn't matter how people tell you, but always remain that what actually you understand, what you like, what your aim is. Don't get distracted, don't develop doubts. Third, whenever you're teaching, when you're receiving teachings, always be receptive. Means you tune yourself, your whole universe teaches you. Where you cannot hear, you cannot learn. You cannot hear, you cannot transform because your spirit is talking to you, your soul is talking to you, your frequency is talking to you, every information coming to you is talking to you. Only hear selective hearing. That's the problem. If you have selective hearing, you will not be able to hear fully yourself. If you cannot hear yourself fully, you cannot transform. So that was the next stage. And then final stage, stay with yourself and understand, accept it. My mind have a fear. Everybody want the light, he give me darkness. When you go to meditate, you say, I want to see a blue light, I want to see a gold light, I want to see a white light, I want to see a red light. I didn't see any light, my friend. I saw darkness for 40 days. But in that darkness, I became the light. Do you understand? In that darkness, I became the light. So that was one of my teachers. There's many stories like my teachers, my friend. So, are you happy with what story?
I am very happy.
Okay. Michelle, any other question?
There's one more. Will popped another question in the chat. Will, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, I will now. Yogi, have you heard of the Galwang Drupka?
Eh?
The 12th Galwang Drupka?
I have absolutely no idea about what you're asking.
Oh, he's a renowned teacher that comes from Dar es Salaam. You know, Dar es Salaam in India.
Dharamsala.
Yeah, Dharamsala. Yeah, he's Tibetan yoga. He's Tibetan. The Gawang Drukpa.
Not really, but I'm pretty sure I have some people who might know it. You know, my life, my effort is actually never been to know any masters or teacher. Most of my teacher is been in my life. Also, their effort was not to know them. The effort was to know myself. But that's what my teachers actually always been very grateful for them. That their effort was never to know myself, to know them, but actually to know myself as much as I can. There was whole effort to know myself. So every teacher, people ask me, do you know this yoga teacher? You know this meditation teacher? This person is very great healer. This person is a great practitioner. I don't really know, my friend. I'm not in a part of any club. I don't join any gatherings of teachers. I don't join any gatherings of the spirituality. I go if I invited. I do what I need to do, and I walk away. So my effort was only to understand my Swadharma. Once I understood my Swadharma, there is nothing more to understand. So most of teachers' effort was also the same. That effort was not to understand them or understand God. God had no charities, and God is so vast, energy is so vast that I can never understand. Only person I can understand is my mind, myself. If I understand that, that is the limitation. But our approach is such is actually in opposite direction. We want to understand God. Forget about it. You can spend your lifetime after lifetime, lifetime after lifetime, you can never understand it. If you understand yourself, there is a good possibility that you understand the cosmic vibration. So none of my teachers' effort was to understand them or to understand God, but more effort they put it inside to understand my mind, understand my senses, understand me, who am I. That was the prime focus of the teaching was. So similarly, if you have noticed when you have participated in any training program, I don't really show you how well I can do the posters, but I teach you how well you can do it, how well you can think. What I can think is mine already, not beneficial to you at all. I already have it. How well I can meditate is irrelevant to you. How well you can meditate, that is very important for me. And that should be important for you as well. I get sometimes questions like Yogi, why are you not practicing asanas? Why are you not meditating when you are teaching? If I meditate when I'm teaching meditation, I will not be teaching you because I will be meditating. I will not be teaching. I will not be pretending to meditate and teach same time. I will be just going to my space and that's it. So when I practice, I will be practicing. I will not be teaching. So I have done plenty of practice. You know that I do few hours a day, that's enough. I live 24/7. Practice for me is not to do. It's for practice for me is to live. That's the difference. So that question get asked over and over, and some people don't really understand because maybe the type of the teachers they have had to look at me how well I can do it. I'm not interested. How well I can do it is beneficial for me, not for you. And you get hooked up to the idea that somebody, well, how well they can do it, I stay with it. Irrelevant. That is your wrong approach. You should try to find a way how well teacher makes you question yourself and develops your internal relationship and body relationship. How healthier relationship the teacher makes you develop with yourself, and that is important part for you. So, but it is nowadays one of my teachers used to say it's very hard to find. He used to he literally said that it's very hard to find students. You find followers, but not disciples. You don't find a student who follow discipline of the practice. You will find people put the blank sheet on them, they just follow it like coronavirus. If somebody tells you put mask on, everybody put mask on. Doesn't matter. You don't question it. You just do it. So somebody impose something on you, just do it. Don't really question it. So following is different than being a disciple of a discipline. Is totally different. So one of my teachers used to say, it's very hard to find a genuine disciples and genuine students. And I had somebody ask me, they would like to be like me. I said to them, please don't try to be like me. I wish you to be like you, not to be like me. Because world cannot handle two of me. One is enough. And the person got really offended. I said, I don't really want to teach that person. They missed the message. I'm very happy for them to be them, not to be me. Means you have to copy me. These copies are not good. I teach authenticity. I teach the organic process of growth. So that have to be brewed inside you to be you. If you take something that what I impose, it's no longer truth. It's just you borrowing the truth, painting all over you and behaving like me. That's not the real practice. So next question, Michelle. That's enough. Thank you very much, everyone. I think I have overstretched the time. And Pranam, for you.